Now at 10 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, how a Victoria County mom picking up the pieces after flooding forced her family out.
Bloomington Stronger Together aims to reconnect with local Little League teams and grow its membership.
Plus, Governor Abbott signs off on a plan that could mean big savings for Texas business owners.
We'll be talking about the afternoon showers that we expect to occur, right, kind of like this. Nothing significant, nothing severe. That's the good news. And we'll also be taking a look at the tropics. All that coming up in a moment.
And the current Lone Star Cup standings have some Crossroads team a part of their list. We'll find out who some of those teams are later on in sport.
You're watching 25 News Now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Shawna Currie.
And I'm Brubaker.
The Bowling ISD board president in Wharton County is facing a felony charge. Authorities arrested 59-year-old Jerry James Svatek Jr. earlier today on a charge of possession of child pornography involving a victim under 10. Homeland Security led the investigation with help from the Texas Rangers, DPS, and the Wharton County Sheriff's Office. In a statement, the Bowling ISD superintendent says the district is aware of the arrest, but will not comment further while the legal process plays out. He also says no complaints have been filed against Svatek by Bowling ISD students or parents. With rain clearing up, some residents are stuck with long-lasting damage from last week's flooding rain.
25 News Now reporter Ray Mosley spoke with one resident who's mopping up the mess in her home.
Being a single mom, it's hard.
Victoria County resident Monica Delgado not only has 3 children to care for, but she's having to find a new place to stay after her home flooded on June 12th. There's noticeable damage to the lower area, as well as a missing door handle and a missing lock. She says she'll do anything to keep a roof over her children's heads.
I have the strength, despite anything that has been put before me, that Mama's gonna do any and everything in her power to make it happen.
She's grateful that her children are alive, as she reminds people to count their blessings. Delgado didn't have insurance and knows it'll take time to clean up the mess.
Just don't be afraid to ask for help.
Delgado is looking to find a place near her job so that she can be close to her children. Ray Mosley, KAVU TV, 25 News Now.
Delgado says she's contacted her landlord, but they claim they don't see any damage. She's not backing down and is still pushing hard to get it fixed.
Bloomington Stronger Together held its regular meeting tonight. The group is looking to bring on a new member and shared an update on efforts to reconnect with local Little League teams. President Elroy Alex says there are at least 8 teams in the Bloomington area, and they're hoping to step up to the plate soon.
I want to tell all the towns and surrounding and everybody in our districts in the high school, softball and hard baseball, is get ready, because in the future Bloomington's coming back and they're going to be competitive in baseball field.
The group also talked about training for future water board members. The next scheduled meeting for Bloomington Stronger Together is set for August 19th. Victoria County Clerk Heidi Easley has been named County Clerk of the Year by the County and District Clerks Association of Texas. Easley represented Region 8 and was selected by her own peers across the state. To even be considered, nominees must have at least 4 years in office, stay up to date with continuing education, and make standout contributions to the profession. Easley's dedication clearly stood out, and now she is bringing that statewide recognition home.
Governor Greg Abbott signed several new bills aimed at helping small businesses grow in Texas, including faster filings, fewer local regulations, and expanded tax breaks. He called the move a win for entrepreneurs and praised Fort Worth's role in boosting the state's economy. Governor Abbott also signed Monday 3 bills aimed at cutting property taxes. The new laws boost exemptions for homeowners, seniors, and small businesses. Voters must now approve a constitutional amendment this November for those cuts to take effect. Meanwhile, Governor Abbott's also under pressure to decide on a bill that could ban THC products. He's got until this Sunday to act. And here's your viewer poll tonight. How much do property taxes impact your household or business budget? Your options are a lot, somewhat, very little, and not at all. As you can see, a lot voted for a lot, 80%. property taxes affecting their household or business budget. We want to hear from you. Visit crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we thank you for voting.
Time now to head outside and check on our weather.
Let's go to Mac Peters for the first look at the forecast. And Mac, it still feels humid out there.
Well, that's definitely going to be with us for the next few days. In fact, it's going to be getting even more stifling. But the big news tonight is that in the tropics, this is the Pacific Ocean, we've got a hurricane developing that is going to be rolling over Acapulco again. So it's an early start to the season down there. We'll talk more about that and take a look at your 7 days coming up in a moment.
President Trump is calling for Iran's unconditional surrender as tensions with Israel escalate. He claims the U.S. knows where Iran's supreme leader is hiding, but says he doesn't want him killed for now.
Trump cut his G7 trip short, returning to Washington to handle what the White House calls important matters. More from ABC's Mary Bruce.
Tonight, as Israeli missiles find their targets in Iran, President Trump with this demand to the Iranian regime, unconditional surrender. Adding this threat, we know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out, kill, at least not for now, saying our patience is wearing thin. Trump has been urging Iran to negotiate a nuclear deal, but now...
They should have done the deal. I told them, do the deal. So I don't know, I'm not too much in a mood to negotiate now.
Tonight, Iran's supreme leader posting ominously, the battle begins. As Iranian missiles continue to fall on Israel. Our Ian Panel in Tel Aviv.
We just heard the first sound there of an intercept, so we're going to have to disappear. But this is another round of Iranian strikes on Israel.
The Iranian army's commander saying the operations carried out so far have merely been warnings for deterrence, and a punitive operation will be executed soon. Israel releasing this video claiming to show Israeli fighter jets tracking Iranian mobile missile launchers through the streets of Tehran before blowing them up. In Tehran, terrified residents racing to escape. Traffic gridlocked and long gas lines after Trump posted this warning, saying everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran with no further explanation. The president today meeting with his national security team in the Situation Room as Israel ups the pressure on the U.S. to intervene militarily to destroy Iran's nuclear program. Only the U.S. has the 30,000-pound bunker buster bomb capable of reaching Iran's deeply buried nuclear site. Trump now weighing his options, saying he's looking for something, quote, better than a ceasefire.
What specifically is better than a ceasefire? What are you looking for here?
An end. A real end, not a ceasefire. An end.
So something that will be permanent.
Or giving up entirely.
Is that okay too?
TikTok is getting another 90-day reprieve. President Trump is set to sign an executive order delaying the sale or ban law. The law went into effect in January. It requires TikTok to be banned in the U.S. unless it's sold by its China-based parent company. Neither has happened yet, since Trump continues to delay the law's enforcement. Now it appears TikTok has become a bargaining chip in the tense trade talks between the U.S. and China. The app has 170 million users in the U.S.
It's been a tense week in L.A. after protests over immigration raids turned violent. Now officials are filing new charges against people accused of causing chaos.
And on the same day, that National Guard deployment by President Trump is under review in federal court. Maribel Gonzalez has the latest.
In Southern California, officials are cracking down on those who they say are behind the violence that erupted during protests against immigration raids across the Los Angeles area, and most recently, the nationwide No Kings protests last weekend. While the majority of protesters remained peaceful,
so I'm here for just basic human rights.
Officials say a small group did not.
They looked at the protests as a cover, an opportunity to go ahead and ply their illegal trade and commit a whole variety of crimes that in many ways has done a huge disservice to the legitimate protesters out there.
On Tuesday, Los Angeles District Attorney Nathan Hochman announced felony charges against 5 people for alleged crimes ranging from assault with a deadly weapon on a peace officer, discharging a laser at a police aircraft, and others.
This behavior is not only reckless, it can blind a pilot and cause a catastrophic crash.
In total, Hochman's office says 30 people have been charged. And while protesters have dispersed and the nighttime curfew imposed on a 1 square mile of the downtown area is now lifted, law enforcement agents say their work is not over.
We have dozens of ongoing investigations, and we are continuing our work to identify individuals who engaged in violence. Their masks, their face shields will not save them. We will find them, and we will go to their home, and we will arrest them.
I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
Remember to subscribe to our Crossroads Today YouTube channel, hit the like button, and click the notification bell to receive alerts. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, a Texas teacher lost his entire life savings to a scam that felt all too real, and now he's fighting to get it back.
Also ahead, big changes could be coming to drug ads on TV. Changes that could shake up the industry and your screen time. Texas man has a warning for others after he was scammed out of $32,000.
The 28-year-old teacher says he lost his life savings after answering a phone call from his bank. However, as Sydney Persing reports, the call was part of a sophisticated scam.
The real one that I have
It felt so real.
I just remember having all of my cash in my hand.
And happened so fast.
And then I'm trying to see.
28-year-old Russell Leahy said scammers called him, convinced him they were bankers with Chase.
It was my entire life savings.
Then got away with it all. $32,000.
It really felt like it was the end of the world for me.
Leahy is a local school teacher, just got married, stayed in on the weekends, never traveled, just to save that money to start a family.
Now we've entered into the world of living from paycheck to paycheck.
Leahy said the scammers pretended to work for Chase, called him, told him he'd been defrauded and needed to move all of his money into a new account. They sent him texts and banking information that looked so real.
It has been extremely violating.
Leahy said Chase gave him back just over $2,000, wants them to make good on the other $30,000. But said he was told he's not covered by fraud protection.
I'm really looking and hoping to just move on with my life and not having to start over from scratch.
In an email to WFAA, Chase said fraud is when a person illegally accesses someone else's account and makes withdrawals, transfers, or purchases without the account holder's permission. A scam, however, is different, a deceptive scheme or trick used to cheat someone out of their assets.
I'd rather me be the sacrificial lamb for the rest of these people and, maybe save, other people's money from being stolen.
Leahy said as much as he needs that money back, if he doesn't get it, he hopes this painful tale will at least encourage others to beware.
So I just hope that it doesn't end the way that this did.
If you are not sure if the person calling is a real representative, call the number on the back of your card or visit a branch. Well, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has requested a new execution date for Robert Roberson, the East Texas man whose execution was delayed last year after his case became a political lightning rod that shook up the state's judicial system. You can read the full Texas Tribune article at crossroadstoday.com. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is looking at two big changes that could shake up drug ads on TV. One idea is to force companies to explain more about the risks, making ads longer and pricier. The other is to stop letting them write off those ads on their taxes. Kennedy's been vocal about how drug commercials can drive up unnecessary prescriptions. No decisions yet, but the industry is watching closely.
Cancer death rates keep falling, even after the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic.
With more, here's ABC's Christiane Cordero.
Cancer death rates in the U.S. have dropped by 1.5% per year from 2018 to 2022, according to a new report from the American Cancer Society. That's a continuation of a steady 20-year decline. The report suggests that fewer people are dying of cancer thanks to better treatments and fewer people smoking, especially when it comes to lung cancer. But there is a twist. 2020 saw a sharp drop in cancer diagnoses, down about 8%, likely due to reduced access to care and people choosing to stay home during pandemic lockdowns, leading to delayed screenings. By 2021, cancer diagnoses bounced back to normal levels. Unfortunately, we aren't making progress across the board. Some cancers like prostate, breast, and uterine cancer are on the rise, especially in younger adults. Obesity, lifestyle, and uneven access to care may be part of the reason. Beyond leading a healthy lifestyle, the best thing you can do for yourself is stay up to date with your health checkups and screenings. Early detection could save your life. With this Medical Minute, I'm Christiane Cordero.
A new study shows people who use marijuana double their risk of dying from heart disease. Researchers analyzed medical records of 200 million people between 19 and 59 years old. They found people who use marijuana had a 29% higher risk for heart attacks and a 20% higher risk for stroke compared with non-users. While more study may be needed, some experts say it's time to rethink the potential harms marijuana use may cause, especially if heart disease is a concern.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's 80 degrees out there right now. It feels like 85. Can you imagine at 10 o'clock at night it feels like 85? Well, our high today was 93. That actually is our average temperature for this time of the year. Get the idea that it's almost July. We'll be talking about your 7-day forecast and taking a look at the tropics coming up in a moment. Well, good evening, everyone. For the next couple of days, we're going to have just a little chance of some garden variety showers, kind of like the ones you might have seen today. These are driven by heating and, of course, all the moisture that we have on the ground in the rivers and in your backyard from the last week's rain. This is not going to be anything severe. I don't expect any heavy downpours, so there's really no flooding to worry about. This is fairly light garden variety stuff that pops in the late afternoons, and that will be only increasing as we get closer to the early next week when an easterly wave starts approaching. Tonight we did have some stormy weather just south of Lubbock. You see it right about there. But as you can see, the lines will take it up to Fort Worth. That is not coming in our direction. What we have also is an absence of that low pressure. Remember that dip? That's right here. We had that dip right here, and that was where all the big weather was occurring. Well, that's gone, and now high pressure is building in, and that's actually going to squeeze all the humidity down to the bottom of the atmospheric layer. So for the next few days, we're going to be looking at very humid weather. Heat index of about 105, 110 gets where we tell everybody to just stay indoors. But just consider that if you're going to be working outdoors. As we get closer to the weekend, more clouds and more little afternoon showers, but no significant stormy weather is expected. No lightning, nothing like that. The lower level of the lower reaches of the Guadalupe River down below Bloomington and down to San Antonio Bay are still in flood warning. However, that should be also decreasing for the next couple of days. This is the river here in Victoria, and the latest level is at 7 feet. Okay, remember we were at 22 feet with that crest. Well, it's going to crest at 9 feet probably by tomorrow, Wednesday, and then decrease back on down. I don't think any of the rains this week are going to make a big impact on the river. Looking at 77 as a low temperature tonight, 78 down in Refugio. We are looking at highs tomorrow, about 92 for us, 92 out in Cuero, and 96 out in the Pleasanton area. Yeah, it's June and July are pretty hot. Well, as I mentioned earlier, the tropical storm Eric is going to continue growing and will likely become, it's right here, and will likely become a Category 2 by tomorrow. And then it is going to roll in to the west coast of Mexico. Big question, where? In a populated area or not? Well, here's Acapulco, so about 100 miles south along the coast it's going to come ashore. So really the hardest hit area will be this area as a Category 2. Not the major tourism areas. But then as the storm moves over these mountainous area of southern Mexico, it's going to be a 1 and still dropping tremendous rainfall. So it's not exactly that Acapulco didn't see any problems. They're going to still get probably 10, 15, maybe 20 inches of rain in the mountainous areas down there, and that's going to be a concern over the next week. High pressure building in over us, and that is going to keep the showers short. They're not going to be big tall ones, and it's going to be keeping the humidity right where we wear it. Okay, looking at 90 degrees for tomorrow in Port Lavaca. In Cuero, you're looking at 92. Lots of sunshine. Just catch a breeze. That'll help out. Otherwise, we're going to be looking for a garden variety chance of a little afternoon shower or two through the afternoon hours all the way into the weekend. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. Well, it is hurricane season. We've been talking about it. And when the storm hits, will the power go out at your house? Will you be ready? Well, you can stay storm ready with Aztec Ford and Goliad. We're giving you a chance to win a free generator to keep your whole house powered when you need it most. It's quick, it's easy, and it could save you big when the lights go out, if they go out in the next storm. So go to crossroadstoday.com to register for the Storm Ready Power Giveaway, proudly sponsored by Aztec Ford and Goliad. Click on the menu on our website, crossroadstoday.com, click on Entertainment, then click again on Contest, and when you see this logo or this graphic with Storm Ready Power, there you click on that and enter your emails to make sure we've got your nomination. So that is it from here. Now we'll toss it over to Maxwell with sports.
That's right, Mac. Victoria Generals are earning one of Victoria's own here in early July. Find out who that person's going to be coming up in sports. The UL revealed their current up-to-date Lone Star Cup rankings for the entire state of Texas. And we had 2 teams made it there in the top 2 right now. And again, and 1 team there in the top 25. The 2 teams there in the top 5 as of right now are again in the 2A ranks with the Shiner Comanches and the Ganado Indians. Shiner right now is in 2nd place, 58 points, and Ganado right behind them there with 56 points. Again, probably a lot of this is happening because the football and softball teams for both of these schools won. Again, we're in the state championship game. Again, for Ganado, both of them won those titles for the first time in school history. And then for Shiner, they both reached it but could not get the job done. But still, props up to getting to that level for the first place. They're right behind Shelbyville in the 2A ranks. That's right at 63 points. And over in 3A, Goliad is tied there in 24th. They got 36 points overall after the volleyball team. They reached the state title versus the Bushland Falcons. So congrats just to all 3 of these teams. And again, the final rankings here for the Lone Star Cup will not be revealed until early July. So then we'll have the final updated score when that happens. Over to Little League action where Victoria Southwest, their All-Stars, face Calhoun tonight there at Riverside Stadium. Again, yesterday Calhoun lost Victoria Northeast All-Star team, making them have to play again. This is a double elimination tournament, so right now they're still playing as we speak right now. We do not know the current score update, but again, whoever won that game there that's playing at Riverside right now will play Victoria Northeast there at 5:30 p.m. tomorrow there at Riverside. If Victoria Northeast loses that game in that game 1, there will be another game at 8 o'clock right afterwards. So that's all the updates for now in the Little League ranks. Now over to Victoria Generals right now, where yesterday the Generals promoted a great idea about making one of their own here in town, Gary Moses Night at the ballpark. And they want to see how everyone was going, right? So they tried to put it online. They got mass support from all the community. And guess what? It is going to happen. It's going to be there on July 6th. That'll be Sunday there at 7:05 p.m. They're going to face, again, the Cane Cutters in that game. So props to AV Interiors. They're going to be sponsoring that game and see what surprises come up their sleeve there for the Generals there on July 6th. Now, no surprise there going in tonight. The Generals, they're facing the Brazos Valley Bombers on the road. And this is, again, this actually was in the 9th inning. The Generals are up here 8-3. And looks like they were taking care of business because Travis Bragg had a 2 RBI double in the game. Also, how about this too? Dawson Park, we mentioned him, TCL Player of the Week, and Caleb Cotton have also been huge as well for the Generals. So props up to both of them in that regard. Quickly over here to Goliad Softball. They revealed assistant softball coach Lee Price was named the THC Assistant Softball Coach of the Year. And Ganado had 2, again, representatives as well, and head coach James Harp and assistant Matthew Irvin. So congrats to all these coaches getting top coach of the year honors from this past softball season and representing well. Then over there to the Houston Astros. They're facing the Oakland Athletics. Currently, this game is still going on. Updated there. It's not 3-0 there. It is 5-0 right now, Astros. Cam Smith has got 2 solo home run shots there in this game, and Josh Myers had 2 RBI singles. So the Astros trying to even the series tonight there against Oakland. Again, it's a 4-game series going there to this Thursday. And that's going to do it here in sports. Don, Shawna, back to you.
All right, Max, thank you. Stay with us. Coming up at 25 News now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather. When a Washington State man armed with a chainsaw took to the water to dodge deputies, they had to go full cowboy to reel him in. You won't believe how they did it.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Kimmel. Tonight, Charlie Day, the Roastmaster Jeffrey Ross, and music from Pixies. So join us and we'll have a nice night after the late news on Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Well, sometimes you've just got to go full cowboy. In Washington state, deputies were called for a man accused of threatening his parents with a chainsaw. Yeah, a chainsaw. Well, then he took a soak in a pond to avoid arrest. After nearly an hour of standoff and soggy negotiations, one deputy roped him in literally with a lasso. He was safely pulled to shore and taken in for mental health care. So that's what you call yeehaw justice.
Ah, yes. Well, new research suggests a certain greenhouse gas may be on the menu for deep sea creatures. Scientists discovered 3 new species of sea spiders crawling along the ocean floor off the U.S. West Coast. They believe these spiders feed on bacteria that consume methane. That's a gas released as marine life decomposes. When the bacteria feed on methane bubbles, they often cling to sea animals. The scientists found they're not just hitching a ride, they're also being eaten.
Oh.
Yeah. That story's a gas. Hey, the Hurricane Tracking Guide 2025 is here. Stay prepared and stay safe. Pick up your free copy at these locations: Full of Pep in Cuero, El Campo Cycle Center, Palace Bingo in Victoria, Coastal Bend College in Beeville, Went Services in Victoria, Victoria All Sports, and Aztec Ford in Goliad. Don't wait. Get yours today. Absolutely. And if you had one, you may be plotting the course of Eric, about to hit the southwestern coast of Mexico. Is that right?
Yeah, off the coast of Acapulco. So we have the first landfall in the Pacific of a tropical storm this season. So it'll be happening later this week, and hopefully, those people are getting the word out down there.
Right.
For us, all you're going to have is heat and humidity and a few little garden variety showers in the afternoon. These are nothing like what we had last week. They don't have any what we call upper air support. Therefore, they'll just be garden variety. They last for about 10-15 minutes and they're over. Other than that, temperatures hovering around 92, which, believe it or not, is exactly where we're supposed to be this time of year.
Just enough to turn on the sauna for the afternoon, right? All right, well, there's a new champ on the most livable cities list. Copenhagen has taken the crown, knocking Vienna out of the top spot after 3 years. The Economist Intelligence Unit ranked 173 cities based on things like healthcare, education, and environment. Vienna is now tied for second with Zurich, followed by Melbourne and Geneva. As for the top U.S. city, Honolulu sneaks in at number 23. Not too bad.
Have they seen the cost of living in Honolulu?
I guess the other factors balanced it out. So, well, thanks for joining us tonight.
25 News Now, Sunrise 5 a.m. Jimmy Kimmel Live starts now.